guys, welcome to the preview. Arsenal against Chelsea, and yeah, feeling a little deflated to say the least. I still haven't got over that Manchester City game, and probably haven't got over the way that we've thrown the title away, to be quite honest with you. And I don't think we threw it away against Manchester City. We threw it away against the likes of West Ham and Southampton, and it is what it is, but we've got to try and finish the season strong, and we've got to hope for a miracle. Man City do have some difficult games coming up, especially with the Champions League semi-final and everything, you know, on the horizon. But at the same time, we've got some difficult games coming up. And first off, we have Chelsea. Now, this is normally a big game. It's a London derby, and predominantly Chelsea have been the better side over the last decade or so, winning trophies and everything else. But now you are starting to see the Chelsea that I remember and that some of the older generation remember. They are abysmal, an awful, awful team. They are where they are for a reason. And it's no exaggeration to say that they're still in a bit of a relegation fight. I know they're about 9-10 points, I think it is, away from the bottom three. But when you look at their final 6 games, they've still got to play against us. They've got to play Newcastle, they've got to play Manchester United, and they've got to play Manchester City. And when you're looking at the way that they're performing, they are dreadful. You may as well have kept Graham Potter there than bring Frank Lampard back. I told everyone years ago when Frank Lampard was managing Chelsea, they won't go anywhere with him in charge. He is an abysmal manager. Now, I'm going to give you a very interesting statistic. Roy Hodgson left Crystal Palace, retired completely. He then had over a year break. He then got reemployed to try and help Crystal Palace out of the mess they were in. And in that time of 5 games, he's had more wins than Frank Lampard has had in the last year whilst at Everton and now at Chelsea. Says it all, doesn't it? We better not lose this game. I swear to God, we better not lose this game. We better not draw this game. We need to go out and we need to show something after what has just happened. You know, and that is first and foremost. And you're looking at what Chelsea, and like I said, what's happened with them. This guy, this Todd Bowley's come in, and yeah, he's completely thrown them all over the place. They're an absolute shambles now when you look at them. Spent £600 million to be fighting down the bottom end of the Premier League. I don't know how they're going to strip back their squad in the summer. I don't know how they're going to get rid of so many players on ridiculous contracts. Some of the new players they brought in, they've put them on like 8-9 year contracts. We already know that there's no love lost over the whole Mudryk deal, although at the moment it looks like we got the better end of it with Trossard coming in. But yeah, listen, we need to go for the jugular. And I suppose in some ways Chelsea will look at it and go that we might be down at the moment, but being at the Emirates and everything, the crowd need to be on our side. We need to really pick things up, and we need to go and get the 3 points. And all we can do right now is keep getting 3 points and then see what happens with Man City. If at the end of the season it's not enough, it's not enough. But let's secure the 2nd place. Champions League football is now being guaranteed, so that's dealt with. And that's one thing that we don't need to worry about. Let's just go out there and just start playing our football. We know that William Saliba's not going to be back. We know that Rob Holding's not good enough. But what's the point in crying over it anymore? What is the point? Seriously, let's have a look at it, take stock, end of the season, and you know where you are. So, yeah, let's just go out there, play our football, see what happens, and hope for the best with Man City. Can't say much more than that. So, with the lineup, what I'd like to go with, Aaron Ramsdale in goal. I think his performance against Man City is kind of a 50-50 in some respects, because I felt that he could have done so much better for the first goal and the third goal. No, not the third goal, the fourth goal, sorry, by Haaland. But at the same time, if it wasn't for Aaron Ramsdale, then that scoreline would have been 8 or 9. Yeah. In defence, first of all, on the right-hand side, Ben White. I'm going to keep him there. Hasn't played to his, usual standards of late, but I'm going to play him there. It's as simple as that. In defence, Gabriel and nketiah. Is that how you pronounce it? You know what I'm like with pronunciations. But the new lad that came in January, listen, anything other than Rob Holding, people will say that he done all right against Man City, and I'm like, seriously, what game are you actually watching? He didn't do all right. Man City played to his weaknesses. The way they beat our press was very simple. It was very Man City-like, and I suppose you could kind of take that as a compliment in some ways, but they just went long. They knew that Haaland would pin Holding. He hasn't got the ability to be able to nip in front or do the likes of what Saliba does. There were moments in play where we had the ball at the back and were passing it around, and Man City players were allowing Rob Holding space and saying, go and run into it. They were like setting a trap because they knew that he couldn't do that. That was William Saliba. There's no way that Man City are allowing him that space and saying, go and run into it. So yeah, that's what I would go with. Them as centre-back. And, I know people will say it's two left-footed players and everything else. But listen, Rob Holding may as well have two left feet for all I care. So look, that's what I'm going to go with. Left back, I'm going to go with Tierney. I'll give him a run out. Zinchenko looked really off against Man City. Even before the game, his body language didn't look right for me. So that's what I'm going to go with. In the midfield, first of all, Jorginho and xhaka. Bring Thomas Partey out. There's rumour that he's been carrying an injury, but his overall performances of late have been absolutely woeful, dreadful. The one time we need him to step up and be the player that we bought, and we know what happens. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go with, Jorginho and xhaka. In the wide area, first of all, on the right-hand side, I'm going to go with Saka. I don't think we've got many other options, to be quite honest with you. There is talk of Reiss Nelson. Yeah, you know what? Nah, do you know what? Actually, yeah, I'm going to start Reiss Nelson. I would actually start Reiss Nelson because I think that Saka, he's not been his usual self of late. And yeah, you know what? When Reiss Nelson came on against Manchester City, I thought he was really good. So I would start Reiss Nelson ahead of Saka. In the middle, Odegaard. Didn't have a great game against Man City. Need him to step up for this one. And it's as simple as that. On the left-hand side, Martinelli. Felt sorry for him against Man City. His service was non-existent. Didn't get anything at all supplied to him. And he's the form player if you compare him and Saka. So Martinelli starts for me. Up front as the striker, Trossard ahead of Jesus. I thought he had an awful game against Man City. A bit like Zinchenko. I don't know whether going back to the Etihad had the adverse effect that I thought it might have on them. And it just was a bit too much. Sounds mad, isn't it, for two experienced players. But yeah, something weren't right, that's for sure. But Trossard, when he came on, causes problems. Always has done since he's joined. So for me, Trossard starts this game ahead of Jesus. So there we go. That is it for my predicted lineup. Ramsdale in goal. Ben White, nketiah, Gabriel and Tierney. In the midfield, Jorginho and Xhaka. And the attacking four, Reiss Nelson, Martin Odegaard, Martinelli and Trossard. It's as simple as that. So let me know in the comment section whether you agree or disagree with that starting 11. If you disagree, what changes would you make? Let me know. So yeah, let's see what happens. Do not lose to this Chelsea side. Do not lose to Frank Lampard, an absolutely abysmal manager. Superb player, cannot doubt that for any way, shape or form. But as a manager, awful. Do not lose to Chelsea, I swear to God. Listen, if you're new around here, hit the subscribe button, smash a like on this video, and I will see you a lot soon. I'm out of here.